Teachers Off Duty. If you've never joined us before, my name is Rebecca Rogers. I'm R. Rogers World on all social media.
And I'm Bree, Honest Teacher Vibes on all social media.
I'm Lauren Woolley, Mrs. Woolley in 5th. And today we have something to talk about.
Yes. So I wasn't sure if, I don't know. I thought you were going to say on all social media, and I was waiting for it, and it didn't come, and I was like, oh, okay, moving on. But
I feel like I get because I'm the last one, like, of the three of us, and so I feel like it's repetitive when I say it again. So I'm like, you'll find me somewhere.
It's fine.
But we know that you guys have noticed that Tal Williams has not been with us the last couple episodes. We know that you've been asking about it, and we so appreciate you being, like, so invested in our podcast. It makes us so happy.
Yeah.
He's been really busy. He's graduating with his master's program. He's been doing Seussical, the musical, which is so exciting. And he's also been really busy developing and getting ready his own podcast that he wants to get started.
We're so excited for him.
We're so excited for him. We're so proud of him. We're so excited to see how that progresses. And so instead of just replacing him, because there's no replacing Mr. Williams. So today we have our friend Vinnie Thomas for a couple episodes. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, so my name's Vinnie Thomas, aka Mr. Thomas English, aka Gorgeous.
That was the best intro.
That was aka Gorgeous.
I love
Putting us
it.
all to shame.
I know,
my gosh.
and I'm currently the substitute teacher for the next few episodes. And yeah, in case you haven't noticed, I am from England, and I am an ex-English teacher. So yeah, I don't know how to start this, so one of them is going to, I think. I don't know.
Just as Vinny said, he's our substitute today, which is really what we wanted to talk about today. Substitute teachers that have like really awesome substitutes who have experienced really crazy classes, or classes that have experienced some really crazy substitutes. We know there's both, just like teachers, there are really great ones and sometimes teachers that have more unfortunate moments. And, I personally post a lot of story about subs on my own platforms, and people are always like, why do you have so many bad stories about subs? Well, because people don't tell really good stories, But that's why we also ask substitutes, hey, we want to hear from great subs who have stories from crazy classes, because we want to incorporate both. Like, we never want subs to feel like we don't value them or appreciate them. Like, y'all are some rock stars.
My favorite is when the kids come in and they're like, oh my gosh, the sub is so mean. And I'm like, yes.
Listen,
the best.
Listen,
Nonsense.
I gotta brag on my subs for a minute, because like y'all know, I'm still teaching full time, and when I'm here, I have a sub, and I'm always terrified because I'm not terrified about the sub messing something up. I'm like, could you better behave?
Okay.
I will come for you.
Yes.
And my subs at my district are freaking amazing.
That's great.
good.
That's
they're
awesome.
They're great. I can trust them entirely. And it's not easy to walk into somebody else's classroom and just take over and act like you know everything.
True.
So kudos to you. I've never subbed, and I would probably be terrified. So
Yeah.
Especially when, as soon as the kids see that there's a sub, they're like, oh, mum and dad are away. We're going to do whatever we want. And this poor sub walks in, and they're like, oh my gosh, I thought this was going to be a really laid-back day, and it's really not.
No. Oh my gosh. Absolutely not.
Weren't you a sub for a little bit?
I was a sub when I first came to America. I was a sub
Oh my
in a
gosh.
school district for 6 months.
Oh,
and
wow.
I would do it where, because I never knew this, there's subs actually, some schools and some districts do it where you have a whole system where you can choose which school you go to.
Right.
And it tells you what you're teaching. And tell me the truth, what are you going to do? Are you going to pick I'm going to cover 3rd grade, or I'm going to do honours English for 9th to 12th grade? I'm like, I would choose the honours class.
I was gonna say it depends on who you ask, because I would choose the 3rd graders.
Oh yeah, well I'm like a high school teacher.
They're
got the
shorter.
big kids.
They're shorter than me.
Oh, see, I'm like, as soon as a kid comes up to me and they're like, oh my gosh, I stubbed my toe, I'm like, and? What do you want? But I'm like, I did it because when I first came, I was still getting all my certificates to be an ELA high school teacher. And I was like, I'm going to trial it out. People say I have a vibrant personality. Maybe I'll be good with little kids. I did one day in 3rd grade.
Oh, no.
And literally, they were just doing the states and the capitals of each state. And they came over to me and was like, mister, what's the capital of Florida? And I was like, I don't know, F. I'm not from here.
It's so funny funny that you say that because literally my substitute for Monday on my plans, the kids are looking up the state capitals on the map and putting them on. That's literally their
I'm like,
assignment.
that's a
I hope that my sub says that to them.
Oh my
The capital of Florida
gosh.
is F.
You know what? That we can't find subs anymore now.
No,
though. So like, if you get a good sub, like
treasure that human.
Some of these people that sub, I'm like, hey, big dog, this might not be. You can't wear them pajamas. You can't wear them pajama pants to work. But you know what I'm saying. You might.
I already told my sub horror story when they like broke the chair and blamed it on the kids. So like it was hard for me to pull from like my own experiences because I feel like I already like that story can only be told so many times.
Right.
But I had some people send me some stories.
I
and
love
some of
when
these,
they send us stories.
some of these I'm like, is this an adult? Like one and I like have my little list. So one teacher said that her colleague was out, so she had a sub, and the sub came over and was like, I can't get into the classroom, I need some help. And the teacher was like, oh, no problem. So she let the sub in.
Right.
She said, what happened to your key? And the sub kind of like hesitated, and she's like, well, the key's not working. She said, well, let me see it. So she pulls out the key and it's melted. This key is literally melted. And she's like, how did that happen? Subs, I don't know. Like she's like, what do you mean you don't know? Like you've had the key all day.
Right.
She looks over to the teacher desk in the like the surge protector right by the teacher desk.
I know dang
like
well.
was like, you know how when you stick something in it and it kind of like blows up a little
Right.
bit and it's like black all over? Yeah. Like she
Why'd she
stuck
stick that
the
key in there?
and she goes, did you stick the key in the surge protector? And the sub's like, no, I would never do
Hold
that.
on.
She's like, well, then who did?
Hold on, I'm more concerned that you're like, oh, you know when you stick something in the surge protector
Yeah,
and
you
it
be
blows up?
sticking stuff in-
I'm like, no, I don't
You
know
be sticking
this.
stuff in the
I only
surge
know
protector?
this because this is like a different story. I'm so sorry. So I even brought fidget toys to tell stories and I forgot them in the other
You're
room.
on a franchise now.
But anyways, so 2 years ago, like right before COVID,
Yeah.
all of a sudden I hear a in the back of the room, and like I look over, I don't even remember what it was. I was teaching sophomore American history,
Yeah.
and like this group of boys just kind of like slowly turned to me. I don't remember what they stuck in the surge protector, but it was something. And so the entire thing kind of like exploded black smoke, and it had like the scorch marks on the wall, and the entire like power to that side of the room was just out.
Y'all
Like,
kids chose
died.
death that
Like,
day.
Okay, so y'all wake up and choose violence.
I don't even remember what it was that they did. I can't remember what they stuck in there, but that's how I know
Yeah.
that when
Yeah.
you stick
Somebody
something in a
sent-
surge protector.
Somebody sent me a story and said that the substitute teacher was like subbing for like a second grade class.
It wasn't my class, was it? I used to teach second grade.
Mrs.
Y'all,
Williams second.
This stressed me out so bad, but she took the kids to like recess and it was hot outside.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I don't know where she got these ice packs from, but you know the pre-made ice packs
Oh, yeah.
with like
You
that
put
you
in, like,
put in the
lunch
freezer,
boxes.
bruh. She was cutting the tops off of them, giving them to kids as popsicles. And luckily, the teacher's aide was
Oh my
there, so
God.
the TA was like, "Hey, that's
no.
not like she did not realize."
Isn't that
this
poisonous?
I was like, did they go to the nurse?
Bruh, just cause the TA was there, so by the time she cut the first one, you know, she was
so
like,
the kids
"Hey,
didn't eat it.
they didn't eat
okay.
it."
Oh, thank God.
No,
I
they
was
didn't
like,
eat it, but she was like,
whoa.
"Hey, yo!" Like,
So that
hey,
local
yo.
hospital had a slew of children getting their
Oh
stomachs
my
pumped that day.
Like,
my
what in
God.
the world? Like, why would you think that those ice packs have that ain't ice
Grown
cream?
adults sticking things in surge protectors, giving kids ice packs. Like what?
Listen, I gotta go.
Yeah.
So, okay, when I used to teach second grade at my old school, they had we all have a hard time finding subs now, but they had a really hard time finding subs back then. So, like, on the off chance that you did get a substitute teacher, like at that point in the year, they were literally just like pulling anyone off the street and being like, "Come sit in this room all day."
Man.
And
Pulse got a chance.
and you know what? You got to do what you got to do. But
Right.
so the one day, and I always pride myself on how detailed my sub plans are because of that fact that you're walking in blind and you don't know what you're doing in this room.
Right.
So I wrote out these really detailed sub plans, had them all over my desk. I was like psychotic and put sticky notes with like, this is for this and this is for this. And the math curriculum that we were using was pretty intense, and I was like, okay, well maybe they'll be able to do it. So I put it on the desk ready for them. And when I came back the next day, I'm asking my second graders, I'm like, did you guys like get through all the stuff that I had for you guys? And they're like, we had a talent show. And I was like, a what? And they go, yeah, I did a cartwheel. And I'm like, oh my God. They had a full-on talent show because the sub was like, picked up the book, looked at one page, was like, nope. And then they had a full-on talent show.
Absolutely not.
To be fair though, when I was a sub, I once covered maths, and I don't know maths at all. And they were like, "Here's the maths. Can you explain like all this?" And they wrote down step-for-step guides on how I could do it, and I was like, "I can't, mate. Like, there's no way." So I was just like, "You know what? Here you go. I'm just gonna write the answers on the board."
Okay.
And then like,
I don't copy
'cause
them,
at the
big
same
dog.
time, like, I feel like when you're a sub, like, for me, my main job that I want a sub to do is keep the kids alive
Yes.
and keep them safe. That's
Yeah,
it. I'm like,
absolutely.
as long as I don't come back and someone's been killed and like my
Right,
classroom
your
is in
kid's
one piece,
alive.
I don't care. I'm like, you do
Yeah.
you. Because I'm just like, I remember going into like lessons as a sub and like, you know, the kids play up because mum and dad are
Right,
away.
right,
And like, I would
right.
do it where I would go to some schools and like, I have an accent and I would have kids and I would like be speaking to them and they'd be like, they'd laugh in my face and be like, "What's wrong with your voice?" And I'd be like, what do you mean? And they're like, "You sound so weird." But it's because like I'd be at schools where they'd never met anyone that was British, and they were
wow.
like, they felt like I was like putting on some like animated voice, and I was like, "No, I'm just not from here,
Have
mate."
they never
Oh
watched
my
TV before?
gosh.
Like everyone fancy on TV has a British accent. Do they
I
just not watch
cannot.
TV?
And then they're just like, "Are
Apparently
you
not.
James Corden?" I'm like, "No, I'm sub, mate."
Well, didn't that one principal was like, don't say nothing the whole time you're here.
Yeah,
the kids
I went
will...
to, because how it worked in my district, they had hard to fill schools. And how it would work is you'd get paid a flat rate of $100 and you had to do more than 4 hours a day. So I used to be like, "Oh, there's a 5-hour shift. I'm taking that one."
Okay.
Like, you know, I want to go home.
Right.
So some schools would do it where if it was a hard to fill school, it would be an extra $25 stipend on top. So you'd get $125. So I went to some schools because I was like, you know what? I'm hustling. I want to get a little bit of extra money,
little
you know.
hustle bustle.
I want to go Disneyland this year. So I would literally go to these schools and like it would be like industrial locks. Like there would be no windows. There would be like metal everywhere.
wow.
And like I would go into them and like sometimes like I would get like a teacher's aide be like, "I'm just warning you now. Don't even speak to them." And I'd be like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "I wouldn't, especially with your accent. Like there's no, they will annihilate you." And I would just be sat there like in the corner
that's
just like,
so
"This is
scary.
so awkward."
Oh,
Like,
man.
How do you go an entire day without saying a
I
word to
sure
them?
can't do that.
I would like just say like, "Hi everyone," and like I would just like do attendance and go around, or I would like sometimes I would even just pass the like attendance roster around to them and just get them to do it. Because like in that one school where that happened, they also did it where if I called security, they were like best friends with the security, and they'd be like, "Oh, we're going to the vending machine," and I would look out the classroom and there was like a row of like 10 kids that had been taken out by security at the vending machine, and that's where they'd hang out when they got taken out of class. So that's why like they were like to me like.
That doesn't sound ridiculous to me because I taught at a
You
school
know
that was
they-
like that.
Yeah, you know they'll do it. You
Yeah,
know,
I
that-
mean, it was there. Oh, something else. But I don't know. Like, I had an experience a few weeks back when, like, I don't think people realize that you don't just get a substitute if, like, you're not at school. Sometimes we get substitutes because we have to go to meetings
we got
and stuff
IEP
like that. We got IEP
meetings, yeah.
meetings, staff meetings, all kinds of meetings we hate.
pointless meeting.
Yes. And the one day I had a meeting first thing in the morning, and I got to school like maybe 10 minutes before my meeting just to go make sure everything was set up for my sub and ready to go. And my door was already unlocked, which is usually locked in the morning. So I just walked in and I was like, "Oh, okay, whatever." And I started walking in my room, and then behind me, I hear someone yelling in my doorway, and they're like, "Excuse me." And I was like,
You
I
excused?
turned my head. I was like,
What?
You excused?
yeah. I was like, "Hello," and they're like, "What do you think you're doing?" I'm like,
Oh, okay.
"I'm walking into the room," and they're like, "Are you in this room? Because I'm supposed to be in this room." And I was like, "This is my room."
My classroom.
And then, well, the funny thing is though, they have subbed for me before. They
She
have
didn't
subbed for me
change her
before.
recognize you.
I don't know if she didn't recognize me or what, but she thought I was another substitute.
Jimmy.
And I was doing her other, like, she thought I was taking her job.
Well,
and
you
she was
made
in
a
her own room.
TikTok about this, didn't you?
Right,
And
and
people,
people
were
were
so
so mad.
mean in the comments.
They were like, "You're being so mean to that sub. At least she's making sure your kids are safe." I'm like, no. I appreciate that.
Right.
I'm not saying that. I thought it was funny that she yelled at me
Yeah.
in my own room.
Didn't you know that your hair is like Clark Kent's glasses? As soon as like the glasses, it's a completely different person.
Apparently,
the hair is
I
just
changed my hair a lot. So
different
maybe.
identity.
Well, who am I?
But I,
Never mind, don't answer that. 'cause- don't answer
no,
that.
but I thought it it was hilarious because I've never been like, and she legit yelled at me. I've never been yelled at by a substitute before, and I thought it was funny.
Yeah,
but
I
like
ain't
everyone
never
was
been.
so pressed on the internet
They
because
were mad.
they were being disrespectful
What
to
y'all
her.
mad about?
I'm
Like, she not being disrespectful. She just
They were
saying
like-
her experience.
They were like, you should like thank her
Oh
and give
my
her
God.
good sub plans. I'm like, good thing I do that already.
People need to mind the business that pays them money, because minding my business do not pay you money. But y'all know we have like weird interactions with subs sometimes. Like,
Yes.
obviously, like there's really
Yeah.
good subs out there, but sometimes you meet some subs and they a little off kilter. But but the ones that's like a little off kilter, they show up all the
Yeah,
time. So
they
they
do.
was like, they had this this lady said that they had a elderly sub at their school that would like randomly leave her shoe around the school. Like, she would leave it in the library.
Just one shoe?
Yes, and I was like, when she sent me the story, I was like, bro, is this for real? Like, are you playing? She was like, Bree, I promise I'm not lying. It was an elderly woman. She would leave her shoe. She'd be walking around the school with one shoe, and she was like, one day I brought her shoe back to her, and she had an attitude with me, and I'm like, she was like, how you got an attitude with me? And like as if I was bothering her when I brought her shoe back to her, because I'm like, you leave this one shoe around the
It was there
whole
for a
school.
reason. I
But
don't
that same sub, she was like, I'm gonna tell you another story about that same sub, because the teacher was like, this will show you how little off kilter she was. She was like, they was in the copy room making copies, and one of the teachers looked at the sub and her pants were on backwards. So she tells her, she's like, hey, your pants on backwards. That woman, no lie, pulled her pants down
Oh, no.
and put her pants on the right way in front of them other teachers.
I feel like people
Ma'am.
I think that's an HR nightmare right
Ma'am.
there.
We had it where one of my like colleagues was off on maternity, and it was a whole big deal trying to get a long-term sub because we didn't have regular subs,
Right,
let alone
right,
long-term.
right.
And we did it where this guy came in, was completely unqualified, and was like, I've got this. And we were like, are you sure? And he's like, I've got this. And literally this man, bless him, and the 3 weeks he was there, every single week he came in walking on both legs. The next week he had a cane. Next week he was on a motor scooter. Like, literally, by the end of it, he was like teaching downstairs. And we were just like, this is like a manifestation of like all of the stress of teaching.
Oh
like,
my God.
I'm like, as an English teacher, I'm like, this right here, this is the symbolism right happening in front of
No,
me.
this is the foreshadowing that
No,
you don't need
listen,
to.
but like I totally agree. There are some subs that are like, you know, a little.
Yup.
I swear to you, when I was in high school, we had the most unique substitutes.
Yes.
We had one sub who used to be in the military, and he was an older gentleman. I think like it was Mr. Betts. Like everyone knew Mr. Betts, and he was hysterical. But he always brought he brought his own bathroom passes to the room, and like he had them. He had like I don't know what he had written. I think it was like yes or no or bathroom or not bathroom. I don't know.
Right.
Bathroom, office, whatever. But he's like, I brought the Russian bathroom passes. He had them written in Russian. And I was like, everyone knew about the Russian bathroom passes that Mr. Betts brought to class every single
And
time.
he was a U.S. soldier?
Yeah, no, he was.
Why
he was.
you got
I
Russian
assure
bath
you.
passes?
I don't know. He
Interesting.
must have been, stationed somewhere where he learned Russian.
That's
and like,
cool,
But
though.
like, he would teach us, like, obviously what we were learning in class. But then with the last 5 minutes of class, he'd teach us some Russian. I was like, all right.
That's cool.
But then we had another sub who he full on looked like Santa Claus, like
Bless.
big long beard, and
Santa,
then
I know him.
but he played Santa in like the Christmas season. So I was like, I don't know where I know this guy from. I feel like I've seen him before. My family, every year, because I celebrate Christmas, every year, my family, when I was younger, my grandparents would have Santa Claus visit on Christmas Eve.
Oh my God.
It was
him.
the same guy.
That is so
And I was like,
weird.
Santa taught my English class today. And I'm like,
Oh,
You're just like,
my
thank God.
freaking
They
God.
came for me just when I needed a sub Santa came.
it's a Christmas miracle.
You know what? When me and my twin were in high school, okay, our friends could tell us apart when we were in high school, but teachers couldn't tell us apart. So we had this one, how you have like a consistent sub. So we had this one consistent sub, but she could not tell us apart. So one class period, I was like, I think we were like juniors. One class period, I was like, I have to go to the bathroom. So I got up and left and went to the bathroom. And like 5 minutes later, my twin came back in and sat down. The whole class bust out laughing. And the sub, she was a little ditzy. So she looked up and she was like, I don't understand what these people are what are y'all laughing at? And so I think like 5 minutes went past and I was like standing at the door, like looking in, and the whole class would not stop laughing. And finally she got wise and she looked up and she looked a little closer at my twin and she was like, you are not Brianna, you are Bria. Get out of here. And it was like, because she could not tell, like, the switch up. Now, we switched class when we was in kindergarten, and we got a whooping for that. But my mama was not amused. But doing it in high school, like, that was fun. Because the sub was like, she was like, are you Bria or Brianna?
See, Lauren made me think of 2 stories that someone sent into me. I'm like every time I'm like, oh, that's another one. That's another good one. So there were 2 stories that someone sent me. One was that, the teacher left all these detailed lesson plans and just was very wanted to make sure that the sub was taken care of and knew exactly what they were doing.
Right.
Comes back the next day to find everything that she laid out still there, completely untouched. And apparently the sub decided that she didn't want to do the lesson plans, instead wanted to have the kids make flip books of mental health and feelings, which of course mental health is important, but it was not the lesson plans. But what upset the teacher the most was that the sub went into her closet and found the good paper, the cardstock.
Don't you touch my cardstock.
The shiny stuff.
That stuff's expensive.
The kids went through $1,000 worth of supplies.
Like I said,
In
it's
one
expensive.
day.
The
Oh my
sub
God.
let them use $1,000 worth of supplies for that one freshman high school class.
Oh, no.
Big-
Hold on.
How you use
Hold on.
$1,000?
Who got $1,000 worth of supplies up in your class? Somebody gonna rob you.
You heard me. I told you my budget was $10.
Yeah, who got $1,000
I don't
worth
know.
of supplies
I
in
don't
their
know if it's something
classroom?
that she accumulated over the years. I don't know, but she said that she was livid, that she had
Yeah.
saved up that stuff for years.
Okay, when you
and then
started
all
that-
in one day.
When you started that story and you were like, she wanted to do mental health flip books, I was like,
was
oh,
feeling good.
right. If that was my sub and they wouldn't have done my lesson plans and my kids would have been like,
That's it.
we talked about our inner peace yesterday, I would have been like,
That's
I
so
love that.
beautiful.
Okay,
That's
but
for you.
$1,000.
I know. Now that teacher's going to come back and be like, I need mental health now because my anxiety's through the roof. I get no supplies for the rest of the year.
Dude, I hate when they come in and steal your gel pen.
Oh,
your
I
paper
hate that.
my first year
Oh, mine
teaching,
don't do that.
I didn't know you were supposed to lock your stuff up when
Oh.
you leave.
Oh,
So
yes.
I was an
Always.
amateur, bro. I just had
Always.
my stuff sitting
Oh,
out.
I don't
and
do
the
that.
kids, they know you don't let them touch your pens and stuff on your desk. Man,
and they
all
tell,
them
they tell
gel
the sub,
pens
they're
was
like, oh, I
gone.
always use this stuff. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
Lies you tell.
But-
But some of the subs, but some of them subs be cool for real.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I had one sub one time that my kids were so bad, she was like, I'll never sub for your class again. And she was such a good sub that I was like, bro, please. I was like, I'm gonna talk to my kids and I'm gonna let them, that wasn't cool how y'all acted, but she was such a good sub. And after talking to my kids, threatening them, because sometimes you gotta threaten them a little bit. Okay, we ain't no child endangerment, but sometimes you gotta tell them play with your mama, not with me. So I just told them, try Jesus, not me. And so after we had that conversation, that sub consistently sub, and she became the sub at our school that was everybody's favorite
I
sub.
love
They
that.
love to see her coming.
One of my favorite subs, for whatever reason, my students always do better, when a male sub comes to my room versus a female. I don't know if they just
Interesting.
think that they can, run the
Yeah.
show or whatever. But, the one sub I have consistently writes me these detailed notes
Oh,
of
yeah, they be
everything.
writing them
Awesome.
detailed
And then
notes.
I have, those few kids, because I do the same thing. I threaten my kids before I leave. I'm like, if I hear
Yeah,
one
don't play with
thing
me.
about
Yeah.
your name,
Right.
and my one kid always comes up to me and goes, did the sub write my name down? Did the sub say I was
Oh,
good?
yeah. It's always the one that's like, oh, is it me? Is it
I'm
me?
like,
It's
let me
yes,
go
it
check
is.
my
you.
notes.
And they swear man, she wrote my name down for nothing. I wasn't even doing nothing. I'm like, why your voice shaking like that?
I had a student send me a story about how her name got written down, but she's like, it really wasn't my fault. So this girl, her name was Gabriella, and so she had a sub, and the sub was taking roll, but I guess the end of the roll call got cut off, so her name looked like Gabriel, because the other L and A got cut off, and so the sub kept calling for Gabriel, and she raised raised her hand. She's like, well, I'm Gabriella. I think that's like who you're, is this the last name? Yeah, that's me.
Was it a kid named Gabriel in there?
No.
Okay,
It
so she
had to
was
be
like,
Gabriella. And the sub was like, no, it's Gabriel. And the sub genuinely thought that this kid was trying to play a prank on them.
It's Denise.
Balaki. Hey, if one of y'all says some silly name.
And the sub ended up like kicking her out and sending her to the office
That's a
because she
little
thought
excessive.
that
Yeah.
this kid was playing a prank on her, and she's like, "It's just my name."
But
Like,
okay,
I'm Gabriella.
to me that sounds excessive. But then I
Right,
also get it.
right.
I know
like,
kids.
You're new.
Yeah, you know
Yeah.
kids.
If you're
so-
new in that room and you're like, listen, I can't let them get away with anything.
Right,
Right, and you know
right.
that kids play pranks on subs, so
Oh,
it's
they
so
do,
hard to
yeah,
know,
yeah.
like, is this a
Entirely.
prank? Is
Oh,
this
you got
real?
a question. You
I
got-
do.
Oh.
Bree's like, oh, she getting her phone.
Bro, I love when you do the question.
Okay, so I asked, why wasn't my teacher at school today?
Oh, gosh.
Oh, bless.
And this is what TikTok had
Did you
to
say
say.
wrong answers only? Don't you?
Yes, wrong
Okay.
answers
Always.
only. Always wrong answers only. She talked to Bruno.
Man, I'm sick of Bruno, man.
I
Yeah,
love
I'm sick of
Bruno.
Bruno. Dang, if
Why
y'all need to talk
not?
about y'all childhood trauma, bro.
Wait,
just talk
but
about
it depends
I'm
which
sick of
Bruno she. If it was Bruno Mars, I wouldn't be at
Oh,
school
that's
either.
okay. I like me some Bruno Mars.
Encanto, though. It's like one of my favorites.
She mopped the ocean.
What?
I mean, that was.
So you call your teacher stupid. That's rude. That's rude. That is so rude.
I mean, I guess that would take a long time though.
That's
But
why
I
she's
feel
gone.
like that's a subliminal message of them trying to call their teacher stupid.
Probably.
Because who out here mopping the ocean?
I mean, they
You know
could.
what
They think we dumb, but.
I'm saying? They do think we dumb, but I'm like,
The principal told her, "You're done."
You're done.
Oh, yeah.
You're done. You're done.
She used the wrong color pen to mark all the work, and she has to redo it all.
No, she went home.
I was gonna say.
She was like, I ain't even coming in.
Nope.
It couldn't be me.
Nope, the
I
day is
would-
over.
I
The
would
day's
not.
done.
Yeah.
Because she was arguing with the McDonald's worker because the ice cream machine wasn't working.
She's gonna be there for a while.
Bro, that ice cream machine. Why that ice cream machine don't never work though?
Have you seen this thing that apparently like Elon Musk is like, I'll buy McDonald's and I'll also get the ice cream machines working. Like apparently that's his next plan after Twitter.
Come on, Eli.
Listen,
Come on,
that's a plan.
Eli.
That's a
chill.
plan I can get with. Like,
Yeah, the copy machine and McDonald's ice cream machine is the same thing.
Same
Because they
manufacturer,
machine
yep.
don't never work and the copy machine don't never work.
Nope.
So I don't know who need to put their heads together and figure this out, but it's not cool.
because she couldn't find her lunch, so she left and didn't come back.
Same. Yep. I don't have lunch. The day's done.
I
Nope, we're going home.
mean,
Do y'all ever like take your lunch and then you're like, I'm not gonna eat out. I'm taking my lunch, and then your best friend come in like, you
want
wanna get
Chipotle?
lunch? And you're like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
devil,
yeah.
you. All the time.
One more story.
Go ahead, best friend.
I'm ready. This one to me was the craziest that I got. And it like concerned me. So there's a high school
she
kid.
concerned.
Everyone's okay, by the way. Everyone's
Okay.
okay.
Oh, thank
God.
you.
Everyone's
Thank you. I
okay.
appreciate
We about to hear some chaos.
I appreciate you for saying
there was
that.
a kid in high school who has diabetes, and
Mm-hmm.
so his I can't remember what it's called, but the monitor that
Yeah,
reads
yeah,
whether
yeah,
his
yeah.
blood sugar's too low, it alerts his phone if his blood sugar is too high or too low or whatever. So they had a substitute, and the sub saw his phone like constantly going off, and that it was like he kept checking it, and so she took his phone, and he tried to explain it's for my blood sugar, and this sub just like, for whatever reason, she didn't read the safety plans, and so she was like, I don't believe you, like you just want to text in class, and took the phone.
Girl, just look
So
at his
this
so you can see that he-
they said EA, I think that's like an equivalent of a nurse. I don't really, it seems like some
Yeah, I don't
emergency
know.
assistant is the only thing I can think of, but they said the EA was walking around, poked his head in, and saw that this kid, like, and he knows that the kid has diabetes, was looking very ill, very pale, very clammy, like was not doing well. And he walked in, he's like, hey, are you okay? Did you check your blood sugar? And the kid was like, well, the sub took my phone. And this, whoever, the adult started like laying into the sub, like, you can't do that. Like, this kid has diabetes. Did you even read the safety plans? And she's, I don't have to read those. Like, I'm only here for a day. And he's like, this is becoming a medical emergency. Like, this kid is not doing well. The sub literally picked up the classroom phone and called the principal to have this adult removed because she was disturbing the class, and said that this adult needed to just go. And like, obviously the adult got the kid some juice and like got some, like helped him and figured it out, but like This sub did not care that this kid was having a medical emergency. His blood sugar was way too low and got mad at the adult advocating for the kid.
Who don't care this? Like, wouldn't you be able to use the context clues to know that my man's is about to pass out because he needs some food?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, how are you going to say, oh, well, I thought he was faking. He looks like he's about to pass out.
I feel like when it comes to a classroom, you sometimes get people that like get power hungry. And
Oh,
it's like, I'm not that
yeah,
type. I'm like,
yeah.
you know, you either do as I say, or if you don't, you know what, I'm not going to cry about it. But
they
I'm
don't
going to call
pay
your
me
parents and
enough.
they'll cry about
And
it.
that's so
Like,
sad. And the only one that loses is the kids.
Yeah, and it's
That is
just
so
like,
crazy to me. Like, I'm invested. Who sent you that story? Because I want to talk to him. Ma'am, I
I'll have
want
to
to
go back
know.
and look.
I want to know what kind of adult you look at a child and they telling you, because even if because I subbed before I
Yeah.
became a teacher, so if a kid, I feel like when you're a sub, like you an adult, you can tell if a kid is lying about something
Right.
or not. So like, why would she not be like, okay, well, like either let me see it, or especially
Right.
if he had
Right,
his
like, you
little
have it,
monitor,
he has it
like, hey,
on.
bro, let me see your little monitor,
Or
whatever.
no,
You know what
or
I'm saying?
you
Or
even
even see
just-
the app.
Well,
See the
okay,
app.
but I
Just
could
communicate.
see, but I could see why you couldn't do that because that's a medical thing.
That's
and,
true.
like,
Okay, so
that's like
HIPAA,
about
she
that's
can't ask
privacy.
him.
So like I understand not asking to see that, but like still, you could say, oh, to the EA or whatever, is there paperwork to show me this?
And why are you trying to get the person that's trying to help the kid
Right,
removed?
right. You like I get
Right.
that subs kind of are like, oh, are the kids pranking me? But no adult is gonna be in on that prank.
Right, like
Well,
an adult
you
not
know?
gonna-
like the way I see it is, I usually do it is, I see it as what their excuse is the kid. If their excuse is to help me and saying an excuse if I do wrong, I'ma use it. So if someone's like, oh, I've got diabetes, I need to go and like sort out whatever my like pressures are, my
Right.
levels.
Yeah, like-
I'm gonna be like, you can go and do that. And if they get pulled back in by security and they
Yeah,
say
I
they were out
know.
without a hall pass, I'd be like, well, I don't know their conditions, like, and I'm not
Right,
gonna
I
have
didn't
them
want them to
disclose
pass
it.
out.
Right.
And
And it's
I
like-
would rather they be safe than like them
Exactly.
pass out in my
Exactly.
room.
Would you rather get in trouble for allowing a kid to use their phone or a kid passing out because you didn't allow them to use their phone?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like I'm like I would rather
I
take
feel
the
like-
former.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like ain't no kid just gonna be like, cause kids use some excuses to get out the room. But
Right.
I really don't feel like no kid gonna be like, hey, yo, I got diabetes. I
Right.
need to.
Well, he didn't
Yeah.
even say I need to use the room. He was literally just using the phone to monitor. Do I need a snack?
But
And-
dude,
Yeah.
did it? I always have so many questions. I'm like, did you have a snack, best friend? Like, was it in your bag? Did you have some juice with you? You know your blood sugar be low. Was
I
your lunch
think
with you? I'd be having
when
a lot of
they
questions.
sent me the story, like the EA asked the kid, "Is your blood sugar low? Do you need a snack?" And the kid was like, "I don't know. I
you just
can't
don't
check
feel
it."
good. Yeah.
And like again, I don't have diabetes. I don't know
Right.
like what it's like,
Right,
but
right,
I
right.
would assume I'm assuming that means that like he didn't just have a snack without checking because he
Right.
didn't want to make his blood sugar too high. Is what I'm
Yeah.
assuming.
That's crazy. But
is that-
sometimes, like, you get stories about subs, and you like, did that? But
Right.
then you like, we're teachers, so we're like, no, it totally.
That
happened.
yeah,
you know what
exactly,
I'm saying? Like, it
exactly.
totally-
I remember once because I'm many things, but number one, I'm petty. And if I get told like, and I remember I once got told like, oh, all of your students were like released early one day, and I was like, what? And I had a camera right outside my room, so I was like, I'm watching it. I went to security. I was like, let's sit down. I like sat there for like 3 hours. I was like, I don't even care. Like, I am willing to invest my time in this. I'm gonna get you like whatever. So then literally, I'm like watching the camera, and I'm seeing like some of my kids leave early, and I'm writing names down. I'm like, yo, like all like this. And then I see like the sub from down the hall is like this elderly lady. She comes strolling out 5 minutes before the bell dismissed, and I'm like, the sub left before the students in that other class. And I'm like, Mildred, get back to your class, man.
That's my grandma's name.
Mildred, Patricia, go back down there to your class.
Yo, I am out. I am done for the day. We are not getting in this traffic. I'm leaving.
Look, Patricia was like, I'm finna go get these kids
Talent
bad.
show's over. It's time to
Yeah,
leave.
these kids
my
bad.
gosh.
These kids
But I'm
bad.
always
Oh
like,
my
that was my
God.
biggest fear, because if you let your kids go before the bell, you're legally responsible for
Yeah.
them. So I'm
Right.
like, and they do all sorts of crap when they're
Right.
outside that room and no one else is in the hall.
Right.
So I'm like,
I love when you come back and the kids was like, the kids like, I mean, the sub was mean, but like, she was nice too. You know what I'm saying? Like that
Yes,
means she
that's
was
the
like
best.
firm, but she like
There's
she
always
was
that
there
one
too.
sub that like, because every time I'm gone, my kids will go, "Who's the sub?" And I'm like,
Yeah, they
sometimes
always
I
the
don't
one
know.
that they love.
Sometimes
yeah.
I don't know ahead of time, but sometimes I do. And if I like, there's always like a couple I'll say, and I'll be like, "It's so and so," and they're like, "Yes," and they're
Yeah.
like,
That's
you know,
awesome.
like that. But that's good because that means
Yeah.
that sub,
Yeah.
even though you're not in a classroom full time, like in the same classroom, you're
Right.
still building relationships with
Right.
those kids, and that's I
Right.
love
That's
And
that.
when
so
teachers have to
impressive to
cover,
me.
yeah, and when
Yes.
teachers have to cover classes, it was a teacher at our school.
Bless.
The kid, like if I had to cover a class and I came in, the kids be like, "Oh, ooh, okay, it's Miss Richardson," but it was another teacher, baby. Every time he used to walk in, the kids would be, "Oh my God," and they would not even try to hide it. Oh, Miss Richardson, can I come with you? No, because I love
I
that y'all
cannot
can't
imagine.
stand.
Like, I can't even imagine being a teacher, being a grown adult, and walking to a room and the kids just like audibly being upset that I
you
was
were
there.
there.
Like,
But you know what?
Well,
He
yeah.
was the kind of person like he was like, "I don't care. Y'all don't pay no bills at my house. I don't care."
I had to sub only one time in my entire career, and it was because I had to cover somebody else's class on my prep.
You've only had to cover a class one time in your career?
Yeah, because
Get
at my,
out.
No,
Get
listen,
by.
because
Get out.
at my
You're
old
done.
school they would split classes,
done.
and I'd have like 8 extra
So
kids.
that's you. So you technically have had.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I'm
But
finna
like,
get mad.
I mean, covering an entire class
Okay,
myself.
okay.
So I covered a 6th grade art class, and like this is when I taught 2nd grade for half a year, and then I was moved to 5th grade in the middle of the year. And I was already afraid of the 5th graders because, you know, when you teach 2nd graders and they're puny little things, and then they move you to 5th grade and they're as
Them
tall
kids
as you,
look big, yeah.
they look
Yeah.
big. And so then I was like, oh my God, they're putting me in 6th grade for an hour. And so it was a 6th grade art class, and the teacher didn't really leave anything because, I mean, it's art.
yeah.
So I was like, listen, if y'all behave, we can go outside and play.
Yeah.
And they were like,
Yes.
yes. And so we went outside and they were fine. I sat on the swings with them and we were
Okay.
talking. I was like, okay, this isn't so bad.
I'm not above bribing kids. I'm
Nope.
not gonna lie to you, okay? Because
No.
sometimes, especially in May when teachers turn,
yeah.
if y'all be quiet, I bring y'all snack tomorrow.
I
Don't
used
talk
to
to
love
me.
it.
Don't
like,
move.
when you sub and you go out for recess, and then the other like teachers are the same grade,
Ooh,
and they're
you
like,
get the chat.
and they're and they tell you all the drama, and you're just there like, I'm only here for I'm here for a short time, not a long time. You know what I mean? And then they're like, like one of them's always like, I think we should extend recess, and I'm like, I'm down, like I'm only here for like one day.
You're like,
And
I
then-
don't have any consequences. I don't care.
What I notice is each grade always has one like really like stern teacher that's like, we need to be by the book, and like we'd be there like, can we please extend recess?
Are you gonna ask
and,
them?
and she'd be like, yes.
Oh my God. See,
That is a great way, a great place to end.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. We see our
Absolutely.
cameraman flat like, hey man, y'all having a good time with this episode, but it's time to
long.
wrap it up. Hey, we love y'all though, best friends. Thank you for tuning in to the Teachers Off Duty podcast. We love y'all. Super happy to have Vinny on as a guest.
And make sure that you guys follow us on all our social medias, YouTube, Facebook, where else?
All the
Instagram,
things.
everywhere.
TikTok.
Oh yeah, TikTok.
all the things.
I mean, that one's a given.
Yeah.
That one's a given. But we appreciate you.
Yes, and we love you guys, and we just can't wait to see you guys next week. Keep sending us your stories. Like, we love being able to share your experiences
Absolutely.
with everyone.
Absolutely.
So keep doing that, and just thank you guys for
Absolutely.
being awesome.
Love
we love
you.
y'all.
Bye.
Bye.